All right, it's Joey Remenyi here from seekingbalance.com.au, and I'm really pleased today to introduce you to Scott, and I'd like to welcome you to the call, Scott.
Thank you.
Looks like
Nice to
you're,
be here.
yeah, got the best lighting possible in your car.
Yeah, yep. Best place to be actually. Yeah, it's got a good signal here. Yeah,
Great.
it's just too cold to be outside at the moment. I think it's only 6 degrees. So
Yeah, we're just hitting winter in Australia, so it's
yeah,
I've got on my big woolly jacket. So today, Scott is being brave and he's going to share through the healing and neuroplasticity and recovery process he has gone through over the last 6 months. Would it be, Scott?
yeah, about 6 months. Yeah,
Yep. And Scott came to me initially with a BPPV, positional vertigo incident. And it was like persisting and lingering, and there was this dizziness in his body that couldn't be explained. And that was triggering further anxiety, wasn't it, Scott?
yeah, yeah. The anxiety was fairly acute, so it was really hard to deal with at the
Yeah,
time.
so I'm just thinking, winding your mind back to where you started. Do you want to just talk through a little bit what life was like for you at that point, how your symptoms were impacting on you, and then we'll talk through the recovery process from there.
Yeah, sure. I just like even just the day before that, when I had vertigo, the first time I had it, I
Mhm.
was feeling actually really very down. I was feeling really bad, and actually, even months before that, my every Sunday night it's like I hit a brick wall because I
Mhm.
hated my job and I wasn't listening to my body's needs.
Mhm.
The body was screaming at me to do something, to meditate or to do yoga or anything, but I wasn't listening. And every Sunday night it would be like that, just hit a brick wall.
Mm.
And the day before the vertigo, yeah, I was in a park. I was actually even talking to myself out loud. The mind, there's just too much stuff going on in the mind. It's like I hit a brick wall every day.
Mhm.
So yeah, that morning when I woke up about 4 o'clock in the morning and the room started spinning,
Mhm.
I felt, yeah, it was quite scary, and it happened again a couple of minutes later. Then I just woke up my girlfriend and yeah, just told her what was going on, and it was spinning again. Then I just moved too quickly to one
Mhm.
side, and I was spinning for about 10, 15 seconds.
Mhm.
Then it stopped, and straight away I knew what it was.
Mhm.
But to my credit, I knew what it was, and I guess intuitively, just to keep very still. And I was in bed for the whole day, and I was deep relaxing for the whole day. Straight away, I changed my diet, but the problem was, I was trying to be my own. I was trying to be my own healer. I really didn't know what I was doing, and getting onto Doctor YouTube and looking at exercises with vertigo, and yeah, I was just going through a lot of intense anxiety at the time, and I just really needed someone else's help. So
How long until you spoke to a GP or a physiotherapist or someone who could talk you through the benign paroxysmal positional vertigo
I I
specifics?
first week I went to an acupuncturist and a naturopath, and he was a doctor in India,
Mhm.
and he just gave me acupuncture and a load of pills, and gave me a diet to change.
Mhm.
But I didn't see a GP until about 3 weeks later,
Mhm.
um, and they gave me a blood pressure monitor, and I told
Mhm.
them I had vertigo,
Mhm.
but I didn't have it for. I said there was been no spinning for 2 weeks,
Mhm.
but the doctor was kind of he's a bit out there. He didn't really listen,
Mhm.
and I thought, okay, because he hasn't said anything, then there's no problem. So I just moved up to Myrtleford from Melbourne, and yeah, I was getting through the days okay, and I was looking after myself, but there's still that not quite right feeling all the time. And
Yep.
that's when I found Seeking Balance on the internet, just
Yep.
looking at someone, a specialist of some sort.
Yep.
Because sometimes I knew that doctors weren't that some doctors aren't that knowledgeable on vertigo, some are, and I just wanted to find someone with
Mm.
good qualifications. So I saw Seeking Balance, and that's when I got in contact with you.
So with benign paroxysmal positional vertigo, for those of you listening, I've actually had it twice. It's incredibly common. And it's when the calcium particles that live in the inner ears get dislodged and they start floating around and swimming around what you could consider like adjacent bedrooms of the inner ear. So they're in the right organ, they're in the inner ear and they belong there, but they're swimming around the wrong parts. And what happens is when we're bending over or looking up or rolling in bed, as Scott said, you can get 10 to 15 seconds of a quite significant flurry of spinning in the eyes called nystagmus. So it's brief, it's positional, and it's treatable. So when we identify which ear it is and which canal it's in, we can very gently reposition those crystals. Now, did you have a repositioning treatment, or did yours naturally go back to where they belong, do you think, Scott? I can't remember.
I went onto YouTube and I saw a doctor who cured her vertigo from she did some sort of position similar to the one that you're teaching or showing, but it was a little different, but I was doing that. And perhaps that put the particles in the right place.
Yep.
But my problem was I was doing it every day, which I didn't need to.
Yeah.
Maybe, and doing different ones as well, which probably treated different canals. So
exactly. So you've got 5 bedrooms in the inner ears, and generally speaking, 1 canal will be affected. So for those of you listening, it is quite important that you don't overdo it. And while it's great we have access to Google and all of these resources, if you don't know specifically which ear you're treating or which canal, you can end up flopping and flipping the head and the brain and the ears in all sorts of directions and actually confusing the crystals, the calcium crystals. So I want you to go back to that time. I remember you were talking with me and there was dizziness in your body. And I think straight up we said, we need to figure out if you still have BPPV or if it's resolved. And I want you to talk through to the listeners, how did you go about actually overcoming the BPPV piece, which was like kind of step number 1?
That's right. So step number 1 on the module, it was about you're showing that was the Hall Pike test, where you do some different positions, like you fall back a little quickly to the side of your, the side of your head on a pillow, and you look for spinning. And so I tried both ears, and there was no spinning on either side, the left side or the right side. And there was another position.
The roll test, which is, so the first one's looking at the posterior canal, and you ruled out that, and you check that it's normal.
That's right.
The horizontal canal, which is the roll test, and you did. So you did all 4 tests.
It did all 4 tests, and I passed. So there was nothing. There's no spinning there. Yep. So straight away, that was a relief, just to know that the crystals are in the right part of the in the ears, and
you didn't have to keep doing all of those flops and flips every day.
Exactly, and that kind of gave me a bit more of a peace of mind, and there's just confidence that built from that straight away. If there was spinning, then I would have had the tools to know how to deal with it and how to put the particles back in the right place in the ear. So there was just all those tools there that would help me. So even if there was spinning, I knew that I was confident enough that I could do this on my own, and there was all the right information, to help me, and of course, the online support as well. So
I'm just curious. So first step was like, all right, we need to know where are the particles in the ears, which canal, is it there or not?
Yeah.
And so once we realized, okay, the BPPV has actually been sorted, and to be honest, for some people, the crystals and the calcium particles will naturally just roll back to where they belong with no treatment. So it's just they find their way home, essentially.
Yeah.
So not everybody needs treatments, but what can happen is the anxiety can linger. Yeah. And we can also get other forms of persistent dizziness that are kind of triggered by the BPPV. Yeah. And we need to then reset and realign the inner ear balance system through the pathways. There's so many pathways traveling through the brain. And so do you want to talk a little bit about your experience of post BPPV and then having to sort of start from scratch and reset your balance?
Oh, that's right. So after I did the Hall Pike test, and I started doing the exercises that you were showing, just standing there with your eyes closed and keeping as still as possible, and having your right foot in front of your left foot. And that just gave me some really challenging exercises, and that was just naturally testing my balance in there. And but it's also the first meeting with you, just dealing with uncomfortable feelings and uncomfortable symptoms,
like the emotional stuff.
The emotional stuff. It's learning to feel comfortable about the things that don't feel not quite right. So it's really about allowing the dizziness to talk to me, not to try and push it away. So when that dizziness was there, just learning to go in and scan the body and just being aware of where the dizziness is and just letting it be there. It was almost like it's just teaching me. It's almost like this vertigo is teaching me a really valuable lesson. It's just to constantly check in with your body, because I wasn't listening to myself for quite some time.
Would you say that you didn't know how to listen, though? It's not that you didn't want to, but more, life gets really go, go, bang, bang, push, push, and time can run away with us. And it's not that we're ignoring ourselves or that we don't want to listen. It's more we've never been taught and we don't know how. And suddenly we're given all of these tools to access.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of both, because there was a part of that. I knew there was something deep down that was wanting to come up, but I was actually not wanting to listen to it because it was quite intense.
Yeah.
But also there was part of me that really didn't know how as well. And just after the first time that I spoken to you, and we went through the body scan, and I was telling you about some uncomfortable feelings in the back of the neck and around the head and the spinning in the legs, and just able to just sit there and acknowledge it and give it space, and really allow it to be there. I just found after that, even though it was still there in the background, it didn't really have any power over me anymore. It just started dissipating really, really quickly. Did
you notice any of those symptoms resolved entirely with time?
Absolutely. The spinning has actually gone in the legs, and the spinning in the body is gone.
Yep. So you've recentered back to normal.
Absolutely recentered, and I can do a lot of things that I never thought I was able to do again. I now do when I do yoga now, it's all with my eyes closed. It's also the anxiety, the social anxiety that I had was extreme. I couldn't go into a supermarket without nearly having a panic attack. I couldn't go out and see friends. I couldn't go into a shop. So it's also that, it's the confidence of going back into the general public. And, even last night I was out with friends at a pub, and it's just not a worry. It's like it never happened. That's a strange thing.
And you're back at full-time work and planning a holiday on your own, a solo travel trip.
Absolutely. Before I saw you, I didn't think there was really I thought it was just going to be a long haul. I thought this was going to take years to get over. But within a few months, things changed rapidly. Even after the second time I spoke to you, things changed really quickly.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because neuroplasticity is so enigmatic. I mean, we're all experiencing neurons communicating and changing and shifting in some way every day.
Yeah.
And we're either conscious of it and we're consciously cultivating those neural pathways that we want, or we're not conscious of it and we're just sort of pushing through life and go, go, go. And to a certain extent, unhelpful neural pathways can be strengthening and developing. So it's interesting that once we put our mind to it, and there's that mind, body, emotional, spiritual intersect, I mean, this stuff can happen quite quickly, can't it, Scott?
Yeah, absolutely. I was even just thinking, like last night, because I've been getting really tired, and I think that can just bring on symptoms as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
But last night I was actually feeling a little dizzy in the head, but instead of reacting to it and panicking, I was actually this time more fascinated. So I was actually being aware of, where it was and what it was doing. And then there was a whole lot of thinking that was coming up, and there was some sort of connection to, perhaps things that I haven't been dealing with, but I was able to just go in and scan the whole body and scan the parts that was feeling nice and scanning the parts that wasn't feeling so nice. And it just passed really quickly.
Yeah.
And you're back to normal after, say, half an hour. It just teaches you not to panic, because it's okay. It's just the body's trying to talk to you and tell you something.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I hear that a lot with clients. So things that may have lasted 2 days, 3 days, or even 2 months, 3 months.
Yeah.
Now when it's coming, it's like it can come and go and resolve incredibly quickly. And sometimes it's seconds, sometimes it's minutes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hours. But even if you were to have, let's say on an extreme, one bad day where you have to have a complete day of rest, one bad day is better than one bad year.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah, absolutely.
So the body is imperfect and it does make errors. And that's where dizziness and tinnitus come into it, is these are kind of error signals that the body's not processing effectively. And we need to retrain the brain and reset it so that it can go back to what is perceived as normal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so I'm just curious, if you were wanting to send a message out there to anyone listening, and perhaps they've had some type of vertigo, whether it be positional vertigo or the persistent postural perceptual dizziness, which is more like the dizziness in your legs you were describing, and the dizziness in your body that was probably more anxiety related than anything.
Yeah, definitely.
If you were talking to anyone out there who's feeling a bit lost and dead-ended, and they're like, yeah, right, I can't heal, it's not possible, the doctors have told me there's nothing I can do. What sort of really practical information would you like to pass on to them, like having experienced it yourself?
Yeah, just to understand that actually you can heal. There's no such thing as you can't heal. You can. For me, really, just with what I went through, it's about just being really patient with yourself and not judging what's happening. It's really important not to judge it. And just on days when you're feeling not quite right, just do yourself a favor and just go somewhere quiet. I just lay down flat, and I just relaxing every part of the body, and just any part of the body that doesn't feel right, just give it the space to be there. It's perfectly okay, because the thing is, everything just passes, and nothing, things don't stay there forever. And it's really just learning something for me. It's just knowing that the body's been trying to talk to me. And when I'm not listening, the body just keeps becoming more and more intense.
Louder and
louder and louder. And just for people, just not to panic. Just understand this is something, everything happens for a reason. And for me, the reason why I felt I got the vertigo is for starters, I wasn't listening to myself. I let too many things build up. I was trying to micromanage everything. I was trying to control everything. And I just think there was just a build up where that's it. I just hit a brick wall every day. And just to say to people, just to be very, very gentle with yourself.
And I think I just want to back that up. Thanks, Scott. We're saying, if you're not sure how to not panic yet, because learning to not panic is a skill in and of itself.
Exactly, yeah, true.
Give yourself time to learn those skills and to learn to listen to your body and to open up and to pause, because often if we can pause and stop and give our body presence, we save ourselves so much time and money, because you get through it a lot more quickly.
Exactly.
So it's the kind of the irony of, when we slow down, we can heal more quickly.
Exactly.
And pushing and rushing and having deadlines and expectations really doesn't help at all with neuroplasticity.
Yeah. And
the second piece is, this neuroplasticity takes consistency. If we become complacent, and I'm sure you're aware of this yourself, Scott.
Oh, definitely.
If we fall back into those old habits of not listening to our body and not honoring our creativity or our desires or our values or what really is important to us, things can come back again.
Yeah, definitely.
So
they kind of have at times where I felt they have come back, because I haven't really given my the space to check in with myself. There's times there would have been too busy, and I've put up with very rude customers or aggressive customers, or guests that are staying here where I'm working. Times when I haven't checked in, I'll just keep going and going. Then all of a sudden there's a bang. It just says, I'm here again. Can you? Yeah. So it's important that I check in with myself every day. So I'll do a 10-minute body scan at my lunch break.
Great.
A 10-minute body scan in the morning, then maybe a half an hour body scan in the evening. So it's I think it's such a powerful tool is the body scanning. I think it is. I mean that's really a tool that Buddha originally taught was the Vipassana meditation, the body scanning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unbelievably powerful, and he always say, don't give any preference to any feeling. You've got to treat each feeling and give it the full respect, not just the good ones, but the negative ones. You've got to because they both have the same characteristic of rising and passing away. So they're just like clouds in the sky. They just keep coming and going. So, and that's what makes me feel good. Even if something feels uncomfortable, there's just that feeling of peace within anyway, even if it's there. It just keeps rising and falling. It's almost like it doesn't even belong to me. It's out there now.
I can relate to that too.
Yeah.
But for those of you listening who have no idea and you've never tried yoga or meditation, I don't want you to think that the Rocksteady program or the things that are required for neuroplasticity involve strictly yoga and meditation. It's not quite true. However, the philosophies and the practices of yoga and meditation can certainly be helpful. And Scott's already had an interest in yoga before meeting me. So that became like a little bit of an integrated part of Scott's recovery program. And if you want to try a body scan exercise, is available as a free audio in the starter kit. So if you go to seekingbalance.com.au, you can access a lot of supportive resources to help you get started with understanding neuroplasticity, and little gentle, simple exercises that Scott's been mentioning, such as standing with your eyes closed, resetting the vestibular reflexes, and trying a body scan. So that is certainly a great starting point if you're a little hesitant. But the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual aspects of recovery, Scott, what's the bloke's perspective on this?
Physical, that's that's kind of a hard one for me to answer in a way, but physically, I don't know. I guess it all joins. Like when I start being kinder to myself, this is just mentally when I'm just allowing thoughts to be there, or when I'm just practice more kindness for myself. And my diet changes along with that, I feel. And so physically and mentally, when I'm having a really good diet, developing more healthy thoughts and not allowing anything to bother me, I feel that's kind of integrates with each other. And also, I guess on a spiritual level, for me, on a spiritual level to me is it's very simple. To me, spirituality is just awareness, being awareness of your body, but it's also without judging.
Such a key element, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like the foundational aspects of everything. If we aren't aware of it, we can't do anything about it.
So that bodily awareness to me is the most important thing, and I think everything else actually starts forming around that. With a change in your attitude and a change in your diet. If I'm aware of something negative in my body, if I used to blindly react to all these negative feelings, and what would happen was I'd go straight to the fridge and eat a chocolate bar, or I'd go straight to the fridge and have a glass of beer. And that would suppress that feeling. That was when I was being really reactive. But when I feel that's talking to me, or it's more of a lesson of what it's trying to tell me, whether frustration tells me to get out and do something, or start becoming a bit more creative, or
emotionally, what am I needing at this point in time?
Exactly.
And how can I give it to myself in a way that's really conscious and really thoughtful?
Absolutely.
Instead of those knee-jerk reactions of snapping or being reactive or gravitating to the fridge. Because we all do that. Everybody listening will have some type of knee-jerk reaction.
Oh, and I still do. I'm not perfect, but like the thing is, I was a massive sugar addict before Vertigo as well, and I still have my chocolate and sugar, but it's nowhere near as much. I used to be so reactive. I could eat a whole box of chocolate biscuits in the morning for breakfast. That's how reactive I used to be.
Well done. That's a really big change.
Yeah, so I think if you can have that body awareness without judgment, I think everything else falls in place around it. Your mental side and your physical side. So
great.
That's just for me. That's how I see it.
So just to wrap up the chat, and it's been really insightful to hear your stories, because it's so many people experience social anxiety and the anxiety, dizziness in the body. BPPV is hugely common.
Yeah.
How did you find the digital support? So actually treating the BPPV using a video kit and following the modules in Rocksteady and learning all the various vestibular exercises and rehabilitation tools and emotional support and, thoughts and habits and awareness building essentially via computer. How did you find that form of therapy for yourself?
Well, it was brilliant. At first, to be honest, I was a little bit skeptical that I could actually get results from a computer, because I'm always thought, being in someone's presence is more healing. But you know what? I completely blew that out of the water, because chatting to you and I can see you and talk to you, it feels like you're actually really there with me, which you are anyway, really. And I got a huge amount out of it. I mean, everything changed so quickly. all the information and all the exercises on each module I found really exciting, because each module you're learning something new. There was a completely different exercise, a completely different, when we have our, our counselling, mindfulness sessions with each other.
The therapy.
I'd learn something new and would go off to a different path within myself, or something deeper would come up and that would be moved on really quickly. And each module was just a new learning thing for me, like the audio talks, and then the body scan, and learning to tap, and the writing, and so there's so many things to learn each module. So I'd probably say it's the best course I've ever done, and I've done a lot of courses, but this one I got the most out of. I just really, really enjoyed it, and it's a tool for life actually, because these are things that I'll never stop practicing on a daily basis now. So it has changed my life.
Well done.
Better, and really quickly too. So yeah, I think it's fantastic.
Well, it's a real credit to you, Scott, and it's beautiful to watch your progress and see you develop. And I love it when I can see clients who are not really sure what they're doing employment-wise, which I think was where you were at when we first met.
Yeah.
And I supported you to sort of take on this new role, and you've just absolutely gone with it, which has been amazing. So
yeah,
it's incredible to see the development, and I really feel like I don't do anything at all. It's all about you showing up and choosing your exercises and backing yourself, and if you have questions you ask.
Yeah, that's right.
And so full credit to you. You can be super proud of yourself. And any closing words, Scott, for anyone who might be listening? And I'm sure there's a few guys out there who are enjoying hearing it from a man's perspective too.
Yeah, no, just to I just encourage people just to just learn to check in with yourself a lot more often, and try and develop that awareness, that bodily awareness, and just know and understand that nothing will last forever. Anything negative or anything that doesn't feel quite right, it won't last forever. It's always going to pass.
So hard to believe that at the time, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's really hard to believe, but it's really true. And just to be kind with yourself, and to be patient with yourself, and just know that if you're going to do a course like this, just be prepared to do the work, because you've got to do the work. You've got to practice. You've got to have confidence, and know that if there's times there where things feel unsteady, it's for a good reason, because that's just building you up to something bigger. And
that's true.
But just be prepared. You've got to do the work.
Would you say 15 minutes a day has been enough?
15 minutes a day has been more than enough for me.
Yeah.
With the exercises, I was doing 15 minutes a day, but I still think just laying down and doing the body scanning, or the yoga nidra, I sometimes call it.
The sleep skills.
The sleep skills is vitally important. Body scanning and deep relaxation, bringing relaxation into your body.
Yep.
Is a really, really powerful tool.
Yep, getting the healing happen.
That's what it's done for me. It's the body scanning really, and the exercises, and the deep bringing relaxation into your body.
Well done.
The must. Yeah.
Well, Scott, overcoming social anxiety as well as the vertigo and the dizziness and everything else, you're an inspiration to so many people. So thank you for your time. And
Pleasure.
I look forward to hearing all the exciting things that you get up to now that you've got your life back. So please stay in touch.
Very much. Will do indeed.
And enjoy your solo hiking trips that you're about to head off on.
Looking forward to it. Thanks very much.
Great. So if you're after any resources to support yourself through your healing for vertigo or tinnitus, any form of dizziness, please visit seekingbalance.com.au. All the best, and bye for now.
Thank you.